Hi, I'm Katina Horton, the Love and Freedom Toxic Relationship Recovery Coach. And I just want to start off by saying happy Monday. And today's discussion is going to be on triggers, okay? And the first thought that might come to your mind is, what are triggers? Triggers are reactions, okay, of your mind, body, and soul to something that involves your five senses, which are what? Tasting, touching, smelling, hearing, and seeing, right? And then that reaction in turn takes you back to a point in time and makes you believe that whatever stressful or traumatic event happened back then is actually happening to you right now, okay? And so one example, I'm going to give several examples. The first example is your narcissistic ex, you having to defend yourself with him all the time, right? And then you end up in a new relationship with a new guy who is not narcissistic, but every time he asks you a question about like maybe some type of food that you like, it triggers you into thinking you're with your narcissistic ex who like to fight about you with food all the time, like to belittle and devalue your cooking. And so that sends you into fight or flight, right, response. And you're fighting by over explaining and oversharing and over defending yourself, so to speak, right? So that's one example. And then another example would be chopping people up in conversation as far as trying to cut them off and defend yourself. Also, because you had all of that going on with your ex narcissistic partner, you feel like you've got to get ahead of the game, except you have started like chopping people off in conversation because you're thinking everything that they say is going to be, in essence, with the, I guess I would say with the motive behind of trying to hurt you, right? Okay. And then also other examples could be you're pregnant, you're watching a movie and something could have happened to you during pregnancy. So watching that movie takes you back, it triggers you, right? Or you have another traumatic event you could be watching on TV, right? Something else happening to a person that you see on TV or even in the news, current news. There's so many different things going on. You know, people being killed in grocery stores and schools and etc. So then when you get into those places, all of a sudden you're traumatized and thinking that whatever happened to those individuals is going to happen to you. And whatever way you responded back then when you heard the news is the way that you're responding now. So hopefully I'm making sense and giving you an idea of what triggers are, right? And so what I want to ask you, though, is have you ever stopped to think about what your triggers are? And then along with it, like once you become self-aware of these triggers, you want to ask yourself certain questions. And those questions are who, what, when, where, why, and then number 6 would be how, right? Those things those different questions in regards to those triggers, okay? What is triggering you? When is the exact point in time that you are being triggered, right? Where are you when the triggers occur? Why is this particular behavior involving one of your 5 senses triggering you right now? Okay. Next questions you can ask yourself is, how are the actions or the lack thereof emanating from the other person or myself playing a role in reinforcing the trigger, right? And then you want to move on to the troubleshooting your triggers, right? Where you're asking yourself, how are these triggers making me feel? And then what revelation is the Holy Spirit giving me about these feelings? Because you're partnering up, empowering with the Holy Spirit in troubleshooting your emotions, right? You're not out there just doing it on your own, okay? In your time of stillness, you're doing this. And then you're asking yourself, what are actionable steps that I can take now, right? To either eliminate the trigger or to reduce the intensity of this trigger, okay? And then the next question you want to ask yourself is, how can I empower others with what I have just implemented, okay? And then lastly, the question you want to ask yourself is, who are my stakeholders, okay? And when you know who your stakeholders are, then that helps you in knowing, because the stakeholders are the people who are impacted by having a one-on-one relationship with you every day, right? And so those stakeholders, you knowing who those stakeholders are going to let you know the people that you're going to impact by implementing these changes, if that makes sense. And know, and the changes are what? Becoming familiar with your triggers, right? Asking yourself those 6 questions with the who, what, when, why, where, and how, right? And so when you're doing that and you're empowering yourself with skills and actionable steps to dismiss the triggers, right, or lessen the intensity, people who are in contact with you are going to be impacted, right? And it's either going to be positive or negative that we're impacting people on a daily basis. So as you work on your triggers, you want to impact them in the positive side, right? And not the negative side, okay? And so I hope that something that I said was helpful in you kind of, I guess I would say, navigating and mapping out a trigger strategy and not just being caught off guard, but being prepared in how to deal with them. Happy Blessed Monday, ladies. Until next time.